Hi, Olney Theater friends, and welcome to the season finale of Olney Home Hour, Seasons of Hope. I'm your host, Brittany Campbell. Hopefully you all remember me from our 2017 production of My Fair Lady, when I had such a blast playing Eliza Doolittle. We programmed the Olney Home Hour back in the dark days of 2020, hoping to provide some light and warmth to the theater's fans. Bobby, Alicia, Jay, and Jess, familiar faces to the OTC's audiences, would sing and share alongside artists, staff, and community members on the themes of joy, love, renewal, and justice. Our Justice episode was originally scheduled for Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday weekend in January, but the insurrection at the Capitol gave us pause. How could we release an episode of light and warmth titled Justice when justice itself seemed so threatened? We rescheduled the episode for April 24th, and events again overtook us. The trial of Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis came to its conclusion as we were finishing our work. We paused again, acknowledging the injustice we all witnessed last Memorial Day with the murder of George Floyd. Given all that has changed in the world since we conceived the Olney Home Hour, was this the most impactful way we could call for justice? Shouldn't a call for justice at this moment recognize the plethora of ways justice eludes us and provide resources and steps for action? Shouldn't it include the voices of contemporary activists directly addressing our country's desperate need for racial equity? We realized the program we're planning for July, the second installment of Just Arts, a celebration of arts and activism, could make a stronger and more impactful call for justice than we'd planned for the Olney Home Hour. So we made the decision to rename this episode Seasons of Hope, and asked our artists and friends to share, with the kind of warmth and optimism you've seen through the Olney Home Hour, their hopes for a better world, one in which justice rains down on us all, a world we can build together with hard work and commitment and open hearts. I invite you to dream of that better world with us now. Welcome to Seasons of Hope.
Years ago, I had the chance to play Huck, Huckleberry Finn, in my high school's production of Big River the Musical. This production and casting did not go over without controversy, and I am so grateful to my director, Carol Lehan, who had the courage to allow me to play a role that, outside of an academic setting, I would likely never have the opportunity to play because of the color of my skin. Big River focuses on seeing the world through the eyes of another, and its songs remind us of our common humanity, even when it feels like we're worlds apart. And right now, our common humanity aches as we wait for justice for so many, as we wait for accountability, and as we wait for healing. The next song is Waiting for the Light to Shine from Big River.
I have lived in the darkness for so long. I'm waiting for the light to shine. Far beyond horizons I have seen, beyond the things I've been, beyond the dreams I've dreamed, are the things I've done. In effect, each and every one are the way that I was taught to run. I am waiting for the light to shine. I am waiting for the light to shine. I have lived in the darkness for so long. I'm waiting for the light to shine. I am waiting for the light to shine. for so long. I waited for the light to shine.
Travel back with me to an incident in the mid-1970s when I was teaching at Columbia Law School and trying to manage a docket of sex equality cases in or headed toward the Supreme Court. The incident concerned my son, then a spirited 10-year-old, you know the kind, challenging as a youngster, but now, at age 26, well on his way to becoming human. In my son's early years, there were calls from the principal almost monthly, requesting a meeting with me to discuss my lively child's most recent adventure. One afternoon, when I felt particularly weary, I responded, "This child has 2 parents. Please alternate calls for conferences." After that, although I observed no quick change in my son's behavior, the telephone calls came barely once a semester. There was more reluctance to take a father away from his work. I suspect there still is. But as women join men in many fields of endeavor, as lawyers, engineers, bartenders, computer programmers, we are discovering that personality characteristics for both sexes span a wide range. Immodest aspiration is as evident in some women as it is in some men. Caring for one's family, on the other hand, sharing and bringing up children, or attending to elderly parents, cooking for dinners, helping to keep the house in order, no longer mark a man as strange. To the abiding appreciation of my daughter, son, and now grandchildren, meals at our house for more than a dozen years have been taken completely off mommy's track. She has no talent for the job, and switched to daddy's. He has mastered the art. Yes, large problems still exist. Raising young children, as I just observed, continues to pose more formidable psychological and logistical obstacles for women than for men. But the distance traveled from the 1950s to the 1990s is considerable, and I am optimistic that the trend toward shared roles for men and women at work and at home will continue.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices 3, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices 3. This is the sound of voices 3. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. Ooh, ooh, ooh. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
The Instrument of Hope is a B-flat trumpet that's made from melted down bullet casings. But what it really is it's an artifact, a catalyst to facilitate a discussion about gun violence in the United States.
The idea was to have it played by professional trumpet players, students, educators, have it travel all around the United States. Gun violence takes the lives of someone in almost 100 families every day. The more it can be talked about and the more this issue can be addressed, the more healing can occur.
I wanted to see if the instrument could be used to facilitate a discussion amongst the students. The conversation that we had that day is a conversation that theoretically could happen anytime, but it doesn't. With the instrument in the room, and with most people in the room having played it, there were some walls down, and these kids were allowed to, and afforded the space to talk about what they've gone through, what their feelings are. I think there was room for them to actually be vulnerable. It was surprising to me that almost everyone in the room had something to say about how gun violence affected them. What that says to me is that the tendrils of gun violence have reached pretty far in American culture.
The idea is that there'll be enough change that this wouldn't have to keep on going. The discussion would say, isn't this amazing that all this changed and there's no more gun violence? I don't think that that's very practical because it's a big country and there's a lot of guns in this country.
The awareness is a fundamental part of healing as individuals, healing as communities, and eventually working towards a culture where guns and gun violence aren't normal. We need to talk about it. We need to be aware of it. We need young people to be aware of it because they're going to be the instruments of change in the future.
Deep within, there's a poisoning in our spirit, in our country, in our neighbors. When they see us, are we here? Do we matter? All the blood over centuries in the name of freedom, God and country are protectors. When they see us, are we here? Do we matter? I ask this on the daily. I ask this for my baby, still out there in the maybe. We wanna breathe again. I ask this to our families, our mothers and our daddies, still out behaving badly. We wanna breathe again. To our friends, shook and shattered, scared to speak up against the patterns, oh so clear. When you see us, are we here? Do we matter? I ask this on the daily. I ask this for my baby, still out there in the maybe. Yes, we wanna breathe again. I ask this to our families, our mothers and our daddies, still out behaving badly. We wanna breathe again. We wanna breathe again. Yeah, we wanna breathe again. We wanna breathe again. I ask this on the daily. I ask this for my babies, still out there in the maybe. We wanna breathe again. I ask this to our families, our mothers and our daddies, still out behaving badly. We wanna breathe again.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin McAllister, and I am the Director of Curated Programs and the BIPOC Artist Advocate here at Olney Theater Center. These are new positions here at the theater designed to create space for voices of all types to be heard. You'll soon see dance companies of all types, filmmakers, spoken word artists, jazz, hip-hop, country, gospel, musical theater, theater for young audiences, and even the drag community will find a home here in our soon-to-be-announced summer programming here at Olney. It's going to be exciting. In this season of hope, we are striving to make dreams a reality. We are waking every morning and envisioning a day when OTC will be fully connected to its community and everyone who lives in it. The community surrounding us is culturally and spiritually vast, and we seek connection to all of it. To that end, Just Arts, our social justice festival, will return this summer. Many of you tuned in last year to watch this amazing 4-part artistic offering where artists of color from around the DMV came together to creatively discuss change. Not only are we bringing back Just Arts, but we are doing one weekend in person and we are doing one weekend virtually where you will see artists from all over the world come together to stream something that you will be able to watch online. It's an exciting time for Olney, and we are so excited that many of you will be a part of this. If you missed any of last year's presentation of Just Arts, you are in luck. Here's an excerpt from amazing choreographer Christina Camacho, who uses choreography and the art of hip-hop dance to discuss the issues facing immigration and border detainments. Take a look at this amazing work, and then make a commitment to join us this summer. Come to our outdoor programming, watch Just Arts International, and then stand with us as we work to join hands with the community around us. Can't wait to see you there.
Some of my ancestors came to this country in the 16th century after fleeing Spain during the Inquisition. They first settled in the Caribbean island of Curacao before they eventually migrated north to the New World, America. Other ancestors came to this country at the top of the 20th century by way of Ellis Island, along with so many other Jews who were escaping oppressive governments in Europe and Russia. I think about my ancestors a lot. I try to imagine the sacrifices that they made and the fears they must have had in order to create a better future for themselves and their children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and so on. I also try to imagine the hope
and the trust they must have had that a better life was possible. I think we all carry the traumas of our ancestors. I know that I do. But I think we also carry their resilience and optimism for a more just and happy existence. For much of this past year, I have struggled to find my optimism and hope. I have it now, and it gets stronger every day. Being without live performances has been like a grieving process for me. And it's made the tragic injustices and the pain of the pandemic and the fears of the future so much more difficult to move through and beyond. Art and artists are essential to humanity. We may be the last industry to reopen and recover from the global pandemic, but we will be the ones rebuilding our communities and creating a more just and joyful human race. I am so looking forward to the next chapter of theater in America and in our Olney community. In past Olney Home Hours, I have had the honor to introduce some pretty talented young artists who are poised to change the world. In fact, they already are. And I get to do it again now. Here to sing You Will Be Found from the Tony Award-winning musical Dear Evan Hansen are the kids from Olney Theater's production of Matilda the Musical.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there?
Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere?
Have you ever felt like you could disappear?
Like you would fall and no one would hear. So let that lonely feeling wash away.
Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay.
'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach
My name is Harvey Milk, and I'm here to recruit you. I've been saying this one for years. It's a political joke. I can't help it. I've got to tell it. I've never been able to talk to this many political people before, so if I tell you nothing else, you may be able to go home and laugh a bit. Unless you have dialogue, unless you open the walls of dialogue, you can never reach to change people's opinion. In these 2 weeks, more good and bad, but more about the word homosexual and gay was written than probably in the history of mankind. Once you have dialogue starting, you know you can break down prejudice. There's a major reason why. If my non-gay friends and supporters in this room understand it, they'll probably understand why I've run so often before I've made it. You see, right now, there's a controversy. There's a controversy going on in this convention about the gay governor. Is he speaking out enough? Is he strong enough for gay rights? And there is controversy. And for us to say that there is not would be foolish. Some people are satisfied, and some people are not. I remember the lack of hope, and our friends can't fulfill it. I can't forget the looks on the faces of people who have lost hope, be they gay, be they seniors, be they blacks looking for an almost impossible job, be they Latins trying to explain their problems and aspirations in a tongue that's foreign to them. I personally will never forget that people are more important than buildings. I use the word I because I am proud. I stand here tonight in front of my gay sisters and brothers and friends because I'm proud of you. I think it's time that we have many legislators who are gay and proud of that fact and do not have to remain in the closet. I think a gay person up front will not walk away of responsibility and be afraid of being tossed out of office. So if there's a message I have to give, it is that I found one overriding thing about my personal election. It's the fact that if a gay person can be elected, it's a green light. And you, and you, and you have to give people hope. Thank you.
The Montgomery County Lynching Memorial Project is a community partner of the Equal Justice Initiative, EJI, which seeks to create community partnerships that will honor the lynching history and victims in counties all over the United States. Our goal is to educate our community members here in Montgomery County about 3 lynchings that happened here in the 19th century. Mr. George Peck was lynched in 1880. Mr. John Diggs Dorsey was lynched in 1880. And Mr. Sidney Randolph was lynched in 1896. And so some of our primary activities are to host events where people can gather to learn about these lynchings, to be in conversation around this really difficult history that we have here in our community, and to perhaps begin the reconciliation process through remembrance. We also will hold commemoration events and work to put markers up where the lynchings happened as a public education project. People are often surprised to find out that lynching happened outside of the Deep South. It's difficult to acknowledge that this sort of thing happened in Montgomery County. We get a lot of accolades for being a diverse and progressive place. And so people are often surprised to hear that we do have a history of enslavement, that we do have a history of segregation, and that we do have a history of racial terror through lynching.
A soil collection ceremony is a ritual actually devised by Equal Justice Initiative to, in a very formalized and, again, I'll just say ritualized way, collect some of the soil from the location that you can come up with closest to the place where the men were lynched. We have done one such. We did one for Mr. George Peck in Poolsville area. He was the earliest of the victims. The other two lynchings, while about 10 years apart in time, were actually very close to each other geographically. They were in the Rockville, Maryland area. In point of fact, I can see from my home where one of them may have occurred. And those two will be commemorated over the span of a weekend together, the weekend of September 24th. And just so you know, the path that was taken from the jail from which these two men were abducted was not the straightest path to their place of their lynching. They were taken on a circuitous route, and part of that appears to have been almost a parading of captured, near about to be killed Black men in front of a Black community in order to threaten them.
There would be 2-page articles detailing every single thing about the taking of the men, their supposed crime, details about trials and things that were said or done, just to the minutia, except for who had actually lynched the men. That was a mob. That was a group of people that was unknown to the jury.
Police shooting of unarmed Black men, or Black men with permitted, properly described gun carrying permits and all of that, that is just on a straight line. It is intimidation. It is control of a population through fear. It is certainly devaluing life and extrajudicial in its nature. Every single killing by a policeman of somebody who has done nothing to deserve killing is on this spectrum from my perspective, and I think many of us in Moco Lamp feel the same way.
If you want to take out a tree, you need to know how deep the roots are, and you need to know how far they go, or you're not going to take down that tree. So if we want to work to have a fairer county, a more just county, a safer county for all of our residents, we need to talk about what has happened here, and we need to begin to heal those past wounds so that we can build a brighter future together.
I swore never to be silent whenever and wherever human beings endure suffering and humiliation. We must always take sides. More people are oppressed than free. Human suffering anywhere concerns men and women everywhere. As long as one dissident is in prison, our freedom will not be true. As long as one child is hungry, our life will be filled with anguish and shame. What all these victims need, above all, is to know that they are not alone, that we are not forgetting them, that when their voices are stifled, we shall lend them ours, that while their freedom depends on ours, the quality of our freedom depends on theirs. To forget the victims means to kill them a second time. So I couldn't prevent the first death. I surely must be capable of saving them from a second death. The opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. The opposite of beauty is not ugliness. It's indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it's indifference. And the opposite of life is not death, but indifference between life and death. No human race is superior. No religious faith is inferior. All collective judgments are wrong. Only racists make them. There is much to be done. There is much that can be done. Burst the silence, damn the dark. You are not alone.
Breathe, my darling, watch your heart. You were always coming home, baby. You were always coming home, baby. You were always coming home.
I had a dream last night. Everything was beautiful. Everything was a spark in the heart of darkness, a wonder of gloom.
I had a dream last night. Everything was alright. Everybody was a small light in a dark room.
And you looked like a Chinese lantern swaying in the wind.
You felt like waves of fireflies, breathing out, breathing in. It sounded like starlight whisper, ear to ear, billions of small lights, billions of small lights, billions of small lights, singing, singing. Where's the silence? She's reflecting on and this life that I've granted, and with all that I've forgotten, I am always coming home. You and I am always coming home. I am always coming home.
You seem really confused.
Well, Jay, I like you and all, but this isn't musical theater.
But it could be.
The back of a Rice Krispies box could be musical theater.
Just open your mind a little, Bobby. Imagine how easy this would be to sell.
I'd rather poke my eye out with a chainsaw than try to sell this as a musical.
How is that possible?
Just because I'm an amazing marketing director doesn't mean I can sell anything.
No, I meant how is it possible to poke your eye out with a chainsaw?
Oh, I don't know. That's not the point.
The point is that we're reopening on July 4th. The theme of the weekend is justice, and justice is the title of the album.
Just because he plopped some Martin Luther King Jr. quotes into a couple of tracks and called the album Justice doesn't take away from the fact that it's just a bunch of shitty pop songs.
Fair.
I teach lyric intern professionally, right?
I don't deserve you tonight. It's in the way that you hold me. I don't deserve you tonight. It's in the things that you show me. I need you, don't let me go. I need you, don't let me go. I feel that I don't deserve you tonight.
You don't deserve me today, tonight, or next week.
Everyone in the community would come check it out.
We are not doing a Justin Bieber musical.
Hey guys.
Alicia, please tell Jay we are not doing a Justin Bieber musical ever. Please?
I don't do well with the drama.
Never say never, Bobby.
No.
No.
Have a great time at soccer practice, Valeria. And remember, dinner's at 7 on the dot once your dad's back from work. I love you. Ruffles, write it down, sweetheart. Hello, friends. It's a great day to make some theater.
It sure is, Jess. Brittany is amazing.
Oh, I liked William, but Brittany's going to be a supercharged board president. I cannot wait to get started.
Started on what?
Brittany's got us working on a pest analysis.
What?
Political, economic, sociocultural, and technological. It's one of the business strategies she used to build her company.
Yeah, and there are a ton of variations. Spell it adds legal and intercultural factors.
Or steepled.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
Demographics and ethics. Her company is recognized as one of the top 10 socially conscious companies in the state.
Sounds kind of corporate.
Sounds kind of terrifying.
She's coming to our Zoom in a few minutes and wants us to tell her what kind of future we want.
For Pandemic Theater Company?
For the company and for the industry. Imagine a future in which we matter to everyone in the community. What does that look like?
It doesn't look like Justin Bieber, I'll tell you that. Where did everyone go? Who are you?
I am Brittany, the good theater queen.
We have a good theater queen?
Of course we do.
Do we have a bad theater queen?
Patti LuPone.
I knew it.
Yeah, Nathan Lane's her understudy.
Oh, so what are you doing here, good Queen Brittany?
Bobby, I'm here to tell you something very important. You're scared.
That's obvious to everyone who knows me.
You're scared to let go of the past. The golden age of musicals was great, of course, and your love of that age does you credit, but it ended more than 50 years ago.
But those musicals are my friends.
And it's time to make some new ones. Our world, our country looks very different now. Remember how frightened you were to get back together with Alan when you learned he had a son?
Yes.
And think how much fuller and richer your life is for accepting the new. Harder and more challenging, yes, but far more fulfilling.
But who's writing those kind of musicals today?
That is the wrong question. The right question is, what could musicals be in the 21st century? And how can we help bring them to life?
You mean maybe Justin Bieber?
Don't be a moron. Of course not Justin Bieber. But maybe you should listen to Jay, because if this idea isn't a good one, maybe his next one will be. And he's the next generation of theater makers we need to hear from.
You mean like a mentor?
Yes, be a mentor. Oh shit, I gotta run. Patty and I gotta take a trip to LA. That's gonna be ugly.
Okay. Sorry. That wasn't fair, Jay. Maybe there's a way to do, like, I don't know, Justin Bieber sing-along on July 4th?
Justin Bieber sing-along?
You're the best director in town. If you can't make it work, no one can.
I just don't think you can stitch together Justin Bieber songs and call it a musical.
I was so excited about this. I guess I'm just not really a theater person.
Well, no, you're not. But maybe that's a good thing, Jay. Before the pandemic, our industry was too settled, making the same theater for the same privileged people. We forgot that our job was to bring everyone in the community together. The last thing we need now is only theater people coming up with the ideas. So let go of your preconceived notions. What kind of theater can you imagine?
Me?
Yes, you. You live here. This is your theater. What do you want us to do?
If it were up to me, I'd do something totally stupid. Like have musical theater actors sing pop songs. Like get Awa Salseca to sing some Janelle Monáe. Or Tracy Oliveira covering Taylor Swift. It's stupid.
Oh, this isn't stupid, Jay. This is good.
Or imagine Kevin McAllister cranking out John Legend's All of Me. He'd kill that.
I would totally pay to see that. Keep going.
I don't know, Felicia Curry doing Beyonce.
Yes!
Donna Migliaccio doing Billie Eilish.
Okay, maybe not that.
Lana Del Rey? No, I have a better idea than a Justin Bieber sing-along.
Good, because raising money for a Justin Bieber sing-along would be really hard.
Raising money shouldn't be hard, period. If Americans really believed in the value of the arts, it wouldn't be hard at all.
While I'm grateful for that, Madam Secretary, tripling the National Endowment for the Arts funding isn't nearly enough.
Is there a funding amount you suggest?
Well, the NEA's budget is currently 50 cents per capita, right? In the United Kingdom, it's $14 per capita.
Are you suggesting that the National Endowment for the Arts budget should go from $162 million to $4.5 billion?
Come on, Madam Secretary, aren't we better than Great Britain?
You're right. Let's call it 10 billion. That'll get my budget close to labor and commerce.
Still not enough, Madam Secretary.
What else do you want the president to do, Jess? I can't ask for more money.
Well, you could, but that's not what we need. We need the president to speak about arts and culture all the time. We need her to acknowledge that what makes America great is its arts and culture industry.
I see little of more importance to the future of our country and civilization than full recognition of the place of the artist.
That is what I'm talking about. JFK, 1963.
Want to write her a speech? Be my new Deputy Secretary for Arts and Culture?
No, thanks. I'm staying right here. I love my job.
I'm glad to hear that, Jess, because I need you to raise a ton of money for this July 4th reopening. It's got to be free, and I've got a lot of programming ideas.
Have you settled on anything yet?
Getting close. I'm trying to collaborate with some of the other theaters on a couple of performances as a way of demonstrating our solidarity moving forward, showing we're stronger together.
But let me guess, the big theaters are so stuck in old thinking they want to reopen with the same old, instead of thinking about the future.
You can say that again, Alicia.
No wonder all those theaters closed.
Or got new artistic directors.
I mean, damn. Since you've been running Lincoln Center, that place has been more vital, more influential than ever.
The board didn't believe me when I said we could make our lobby look like New York City every night. But we did. All it took was telling stories for everyone.
Telling all different kinds of stories in all different ways.
And telling them well.
And making sure everyone could come. How'd you do it?
It was easier than you'd think. We just had to decide, all of us, staff, board, artists, and audiences, that that's what we wanted to do. And we did it.
And you did it.
All right. Let's talk about this co-production idea you have. I want to do it. It sounds amazing.
I think we're on the verge of some big changes.
Good changes?
Good changes.
Hi, folks. I'm sorry I'm late. Our steeple step analysis session ran a bit late. It's great to see you all.
Yeah.
Great to have you with us, Brittany.
Have you all been dreaming big, imagining a brilliant future for the Pandemic Theater Company?
Well, you kidding?
Definitely.
Yeah. Great. After 2020, I don't think there's anything more vital than our community being able to come together in person to share in some storytelling. I want to know how I can help.
All right, then. Let's get to work.
Hi, everybody. I first of all just wanted to say thank you for allowing us into your home over the last few months. It's been such a joy to share this creative space with you as we all try to navigate this really difficult time. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. This next song is a song that I've always been a fan of, but took on extra resonance as we all struggled through 2020 and as we still try to navigate some of the difficulties that we're all still struggling with, that we've been struggling with as a country, as a world, as humanity. And I think this song really does nail down what we're all feeling, but still gives us a little bit of hope that there is a chance, there is a possibility, as we all struggle and try to find ways to be better humans. So I hope you enjoy, and thank you again. Hope to see you back on the stage. Bye.
pressure.
My dear fellow clergymen, while confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling our present activities unwise and untimely. Seldom, if ever, do I pause to answer criticism of my work and ideas. But since I feel that you are men of genuine goodwill, and your criticisms are sincerely set forth, I would like to answer your statement in what I hope will be patient and reasonable terms. You may ask, why direct action? Why sit-ins, marches, etc.? Isn't negotiation a better path? You are exactly right in your call for negotiation. Indeed, this is the purpose of direct action. Non-violent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and establish such creative tension that a community that has constantly refused to negotiate is forced to confront the issue. My friends, I must say to you that we have not made a single gain in civil rights without legal and non-violent pressure. History is the long and tragic story of the fact that privileged groups seldom give up their privileges voluntarily. Individuals may see the moral light and give up their unjust posture, but as Reinhold Niebuhr has reminded us, groups are more immoral than individuals. We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. Frankly, I have never engaged in a direct action movement that was well-timed, according to the timetable of those who have not suffered unduly from the disease of segregation. For years now, I have heard the word wait. It rings in the ear of every Negro with a piercing familiarity. This wait has almost always meant never. It has been a tranquilizing thalidomide relieving the emotional stress for a moment, only to give birth to an ill-formed infant of frustration. We must come to see, with the distinguished jurists of yesterday, that justice too long delayed is justice denied. We have waited for more than 340 years for our constitutional and God-given rights. I hope this letter finds you strong in the faith. I also hope that circumstances will soon make it possible for me to meet each of you, not as an integrationist or a civil rights leader, but as a fellow clergyman and a Christian brother. Let us all hope that the dark clouds of racial prejudice will soon pass away, and the deep fog of misunderstanding will be lifted from our fear-drenched communities. And in some not too distant tomorrow, the radiant stars of love and brotherhood will shine over our great nation with all of their scintillating beauty. Yours, for the cause of peace and brotherhood, M.L. King, Jr.
Go out and tell our story, let it echo far and wide. Make them hear you, make them hear you. How justice was our battle, and how justice was denied. Make them hear you, make them hear you. And say to those who blame us for the way we chose to fight, that sometimes there are battles that are more than black or white. down my sword when justice was my right. Make them hear you. Go out and tell our story to your daughters and your sons. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. And tell them in our struggle we were not the only ones. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. Your sword can be a sermon or the power of the pen. Teach every child to raise his voice, and then, my brothers, then will justice be demanded by 10 million righteous men. Make them hear you. When they hear you, I will be near you
Hi, and welcome to No Authority. This show follows 4 students who draw upon art, pranks, and the principles of civil disobedience to defeat their principal and his book ban.
The audience will learn about how Thoreau and Gandhi's ideas can help them to oppose oppression around them. Enjoy the show.
It is not desirable to cultivate a respect for the law so much as for the right. Law never made man a whit more just, and by the means of respect for it, even the well-disposed are daily made the agents of injustice. The writings of Thoreau are probably on Beatty's list. He'd say that they encourage disrespect for authority. The list is going to grow and be more strictly enforced. He's put books on there that encourage readers to question the world they see. That's the point of school, isn't it? But no, Beatty has to preserve his authority. He has to suppress any dissenting thought because he knows that he is in the wrong. What was it that Gandhi said? Non-cooperation with evil is as much duty as cooperation with good. Oh, it is so on.
Of course David thought of my squirrel prank first. That was one of my best, among the ones I got caught for. I mean, they don't know that I was the one who hacked the announcements, or that I put the heat-activated pink dye in the football uniforms. But I read too, and even if I didn't, I'd have something to do about this. Beatty has been, well, a tyrant for a long time, and all that's happening now is that he's getting too confident in his power. The thing is, everyone's afraid of him. His punishments are legendary. I can attest to that. He's like a vengeful god to most of the student body, so nobody has the guts to question him. What if he wasn't so terrifying? What if, when the students look at him, instead of thinking, I'd better stay out of his way, they'd think, remember when he looked ridiculous? If the people do not fear the tyrant, how can his rulings be enforced?
Scene 4. Miller's room. Next morning.
Okay, everyone, what's the plan?
And what's in that bag, David?
60 pounds of contraband. I'll explain in a minute.
Okay, so Beatty thinks he has the power to make us comply, but he doesn't. Authority is based on the willingness of people to follow directions. So without that consent, there is no authority. And no matter how we may try to force compliance, if his rules are not followed, there are no rules.
That's what I was thinking. That's what this is for. Look, To Kill a Mockingbird, Looking for Alaska, The Kite Runner, A Wrinkle in Time, several copies of nearly every book I've heard is on the list.
I see where this is going.
Yesterday, a few guys wanted to know which books I thought were the best to pick up. I told them I'd give them my favorites today. And there must be more students interested. Today, to not read is to be on the side of the administration, and no one wants that. Reading has become rebellion. Nothing could have increased the demand for books more than banning them. We just have to give our peers what they want, and I can handle that.
David, you are fantastic. That is exactly what we need.
The other thing we need is to appear to be more than just a few kids.
How?
Well, if we're a few individuals, it's hard to get momentum. We have to make it clear to everyone that we represent something larger that others can follow. This is how we can do that.
So now the people have an idea to get behind instead of individuals. Perfect!
I have more. And a JPEG so we can make more copies. We can cover the hallways with this symbol.
So, the plan is to distribute the banned books in direct defiance of the rules while our banner reminds everyone of the movement? Makes sense. But here's the problem. Beatty is terrifying. Will the people be able to risk his wrath?
That's a good point. I've seen the look of the faces of even the most determined troublemakers when they get down to him. You included.
He needs to be less scary. He should be an object of ridicule and amusement instead of fear.
Meaning?
I can make him that way. The plan is already in motion.
Oh no. Don't tell me.
I won't. I prank alone. You'll know.
As I said at the start of our time together, the just and equitable world I hope for is one that still eludes us. That's why last August I released Matter, which you heard me sing earlier. As a follow-up, I want to share one of my favorite songs, one that imagines a more equitable society where Black Lives Matter and no one fears violence or discrimination because of their race, their sexuality, gender identity, where they were born, or how they pray. What a Wonderful World was first recorded by Louis Armstrong in 1967, another time in our country's history when its people cried out for justice and hope for change was at the forefront. As we work for a more equitable world, I celebrate now what the world could look like for us all.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you for joining us for Seasons of Hope. I hope you had a great time and were inspired to hope along with us. Keep a lookout for Just Arts, a celebration of arts and activism when it comes to your screens and live on our Root Family stage in July. And the Olney Home Hour will be back too. We're making plans for a new season right now to start up in December. In the meantime, stay safe The sooner we beat this pandemic, the sooner we can all gather together in person at places like Olney Theater Center to dream of a future together. This is Brittany Campbell signing off, saying thank you, and sending you my best thoughts for joy, renewal, love, and most importantly, hope. I'll see you soon.
Something is stirring, shifting ground. It's just begun.
Edges are blurring all around, and yesterday is done.
Feel the flow, hear what's happening, hear what's happening.
Don't you know we're the movers and we're the shapers? We're the names in tomorrow's papers. Up to us proud to show up.
It's our time, breathe it in, worlds to change and worlds to win. Our turn coming through, me and you, and me and you. Feel the flow, hear what's happening, we're what's happening. Long ago, all we had was that funny feeling, saying someday we'd send unreeling. Now it looks like we can. Someday just began. It's